Hey guys, Down Phoenix here, and is Intel stifling the innovation on the graphics front for PC gaming? Well, according to Epic's Mark Rein, it is. He tweeted this morning, "For years we tried to convince Intel to fix their graphics, but their data said they were good enough. PC innovations suffer for it." Someone else had tweeted to him, "Not really. Intel lost the plot. Nvidia and AMD took the offensive." And then Mark Rein replied to them, "No, Intel still owns the lion's share of the graphics market with integrated. That's why their data said it was good enough." Now Mark Rein definitely does bring up an interesting point, because if you look at the statistics on Steam, the #1 GPU is Intel. I'm not talking about like overall. I mean, if we take the stats of Nvidia and AMD, yes, they're going to add up probably to be more than Intel. But Intel has the #1 GPU listed on there. And also there was some other further data that I found actually on NeoGAF that showed that web player statistics show that it's about a 40% of all CPUs, have the integrated Intel for web players. And this was a pretty recent thing here I found on NeoGAF. But anyways, he does definitely make some good points there. But let's look at, what the average PC consumer does. Not game. I mean, they might game to some degree, but they're not going to be playing games like Crysis or The Witcher 2 or anything like that. Usually, if they're going to game on their computer, it's going to be some kind of Flash-based game on Facebook. It may be like Minecraft, The Sims, Team Fortress 2, games that aren't exactly pushing the envelope on the graphics front. I mean, you might be able to get some good graphics out of those games with, some high-end, GPUs, but altogether, those games are perfectly playable usually on an Intel GPU. Maybe not with the best settings, maybe low to mid settings possibly, and probably not anything past 720p, but it is what it is, guys. I mean, that's what it is. A lot of people, don't really care for high-end PC gaming. They would rather play on a console, or they would rather play on their iPad or iPhone or, whatever. Okay? Now, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with PC gaming. I'm a PC gamer myself. I consider myself a PC gamer before console, before mobile. It's my #1 source of gaming. With that said, though, I totally understand where other people are coming from with all this. So, it's kind of ironic, really, that Epic is blaming Intel for the lack of PC gaming innovation. When we look at the last game that Epic has put out for the PC was the original Gears of War, and it came out a year after it came out on the Xbox 360. Epic hasn't made a game on the PC since then. So, maybe you should toot your own horn with that, Mark Rein. You guys have definitely contributed to a lack of innovation, as you might call it. Now, there are some other factors that we can bring into this, of course. Namely that the cost of high-end graphics hardware can be pretty high. It can definitely put a strain on the average consumer's budget. And in case you didn't notice, we had this little thing called a recession that we just, that we're just recently starting to crawl out of, over the past couple of years. That's definitely has had a big impact on people's budgets. Oh, no, but it's not their fault. It's Intel's, naturally. It's got to be Intel's. Because, that's why we went over to the 360. That's why we abandoned PC gaming. No, you're probably abandoned PC gaming because Microsoft's like, "Here, have some money. Free money for you, Epic." And you like, yes, we won't make any PC games. I don't know. That's probably what happened. Maybe not so dramatic, but yeah, you guys have definitely contributed to the lack of graphics innovation. If anything can be blamed. I mean, you can take a look at some of the Unreal Engine 3 games on the PC. They're not really the best anymore. I mean, if you look at the best looking games on the PC, none of them are running on Unreal 3.0, except for maybe, I guess, BioShock Infinite. Okay, but, for most of the top dogs, like the Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, The Witcher 2, None of those games run on Unreal Engine 3. They have their own custom-built engines that are designed for high-end graphics solutions. These are the games that are really driving the innovation. These are the games that are putting us towards the next generation of PC gaming, not Unreal Engine 3. Now, with that being said, I'm really excited to see what kind of games we'll get from Unreal Engine 4. Some of the early stuff I've seen, like that Daylight game from Zombie Studios, looks pretty sweet. I definitely see that there is some kind of graphical enhancement with that. But really, the lack of PC gaming innovation, that's mainly going to be on the developers, not on Intel. It's not Intel's fault that the average consumer that buys a computer really doesn't do a lot of PC gaming, and if they do, they're not really in it for the high-end games. They will probably play those on a console if they play them at all. We could also possibly blame hardware manufacturers for this as well, like HP and Dell and Toshiba and so on, for making the decision to go with Intel rather than AMD processors for their gaming. Because AMD has the APU processors, which integrates a pretty decent Radeon HD chipset to go with their CPUs. And these CPUs are pretty good. They have some powerful dual-core or quad-core processors available. The APUs are definitely a good type of processor to go with for a low-budget configuration. And also, it's suitable for a laptop as well, since they're both on the same die. That's going to probably use a little bit less power as opposed to having separate CPU and GPUs in the system. And speaking of integrated CPUs, we can also blame NVIDIA for this lack of innovation as well. Because the lowest cost laptop you're going to find with an integrated NVIDIA GPU is probably going to be around $800. Anything under that's going to be the Intel ones, and the average consumer, do they buy the $800+ laptops? Not usually. Some may do that if they have the money, but like the average Joe that does not have that kind of money or needs to use that money for something else, they're probably going to buy that $400 laptop that has that dual-core i3 processor with the Intel 3000 graphics chipset or whatever. That's probably what they're going to buy, not one that has an integrated NVIDIA GPU. And also, NVIDIA's kind of been moving towards the mobile markets, with their Tegra 3, Tegra 4 processors. They're not really as focused on PC GPUs as they used to be. That's not to say that they're still not making great strides in that. They just recently released that Titan supercomputer one that's like $1,000, But that's $1,000, who's gonna buy that? A serious PC gamer is not gonna buy one of those unless they just really have more money than sense, because they could get like a GTX 680 or, some shit like that, get a couple of those. That'd be cheaper, and it'll probably put out about as good or even better graphics than that one GPU does. But no, it's Intel's fault, according to Epic. We're going to blame Intel. Intel is the cause of it all. They are the cause of the downfall of PC gaming, even though we look at the statistics, and that's not the case right now. Yes, PC gaming was kind of in a dire strait for, like around the release of the new consoles. Yeah, and probably until 2008, 2009, PC was on a downhill slope. But then we had services like Steam and GameFly and so on, these digital distribution services, which really helped advance the market for PC gaming, and it gave it a new avenue for indie games and all that good stuff. That's really helped drive PC sales. Don't forget, Minecraft on the PC is sold like a ridiculous number of copies, like 10 million copies. And so, you got to think about those statistics, Epic. People aren't really interested in your rhetoric because it's not correct. It is ultimately the fault of the developers, including you, and your lack of being able to provide an engine that helps them to keep costs down while still offering good graphics. That's what we can blame this on. So, that's my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me a like if you like this. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you don't like this, tell me why down in the comments. With that, guys, Dow Phoenix out.